Volkswagen is never changed to make it look different, only to make it work better.
What we're going to talk about today is, what started the Beetle, what was the beginning of the bug. And you would think, if you kind of know the history, they made a lot of Volkswagen bugs through the decades and the years. But as you go around in the auctions and the for sale ads and the bugs you see around town driving around, you're really not seeing the early examples whatsoever, to a point where, the thousands of cars I see a year, actively hunting cars, that I can only name very few instances lately, and not counting going to museums or anything, but just out in the wild, let's just call it out in the wild, that I have seen an early split window Beetle. So behind me, we just acquired one, and this one is a 1952. It is a split window. It is an early example, and this one is great because it is a correct example. It's pretty correct about the day that it came out of the factory, what it looked like. You look around the cues of the car, everything's pretty much right, the way you would have saw it back in the early 50s. That's the original Bosch horn. The Volkswagen Beetle on paper basically started in the early to mid 30s in Germany. And if you know your history, you know what was going on in Germany in the 30s. Hitler basically, in a way, got with Ferdinand Porsche and assigned him to design the people's car. And so basically Hitler's idea of this car, his vision was, with other crazy visions of his socialist country of Germany, is he wanted to build the people's car. And the people's car was something that was mass produced, that basically he could put the hands of all his countrymen basically and family, so everyone basically had a car. And to really do that, you had to design a car down to bare essentials that you really need, that you could mass produce and make the car cheaply. It could be serviced cheaply. And that's basically the start of the Beetle. It really, really is. They started coming to the United States in the very, very, very late 40s, basically the early 50s. That's when you really start seeing what we have here, the 51s, the 52s, the split window Beetles. They're very neat because when you look at them, they still have that old German design, that old socialist party look. I know everyone is really excited to see the hot rod original motor of this 1952 Beetle. Basically what this is a 1.1 flat four that's making about 25 horsepower. Yes, 25 horsepower. In the early cars is this 52, they call this the T-handle motor. And the reason why it's called T-handle motor is when you look at the air box, it's shaped like a T, obviously. So us Volkswagen nuts, we always, when we look at these early Volkswagen Beetles, we always want to see the T-handle. We want to see the correct things installed in this. We want to see the correct alternator, as they also call it, the D-style alternator. And a couple other little tidbits as you go around. You look at this engine and it's pretty darn correct for a 52. It's what you want to see. Another thing you will notice on this 52, it's got dual filament taillight. So it's got basically a brake light and a tail light in basically one lens, which is kind of a big deal back then. Most cars at the time of that era had two different bulbs, two different places for such things. When I shut this, what's really cool is the famous split window of the early bug. Obviously, we all know the 63 Corvette split window is a hot item. It's desired because everyone likes that split window. The Volkswagen world, if you're a German head, Volkswagen, it's kind of the same thing. Having a split window is really cool to have. Climb right inside this car, you will notice immediately when you look around, there's really not too many extra frills whatsoever. You have wipers, which is I'm pretty even surprised they got that. You got a 3-speed manual transmission, and then you got your clutch pedal, obviously, your brake pedal, and your, as I call it, your roller skate accelerator pedal. You move up here to this, you got the steering wheel. You got the cool VDO gauge. This is the original gauge as you want to see. You've heard of VDO, you'll see in a lot of German cars, Porsches, Volkswagens, but this gauge is really cool to see because it's an early face. I always appreciate the early faces of watches and speedometers and gauges that we see around here. So take a good look at the speedometer, it's pretty neat. Driving this car, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of smiles like any Volkswagen bug. But the neatest part, and my favorite part, and it seems like one of everyone's favorite part of the early split window bugs, are the turn signals. Yes, the turn signals. Why are the turn signals so cool? Well, let me show you why the turn signals are so cool. All right, how sweet is that? Name one car today that has a projectile coming out of the side telling you that you're going to turn. Right. None of those blenders going around today have anything as neat as that. But yeah, this is the early Beetle, and it's pretty fun. No doubt about it.